Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Unstoppable. Today's guest, my buddy, Mike LiPetri, former Assemblyman, current Managing Director of Park Strategies, Long Island.
That's right. Nice job, buddy.
I know. I'm good. Bro, so happy to have you here, man. This is a long time coming. I'm excited to chop it up with you for a little bit. You have been up to so many things. That's why it's probably hard to wrestle you down and get you over here. But let's kind of take it from the top, man. You, how old are you?
30.
Oh, shit. You're getting old, bro.
I know. I hit the big 3-0, man.
30 years old. You have quite a resume behind you already. Started off as a lawyer, got into New York State Assembly, just kind of rolled up your sleeves, ran into that. I'm probably going to start there. Okay. And, what started you getting What got you into politics?
Oh, man, it was always one, so I came from a family of baseball players, right? So my grandfather, he played for the Phillies for professional baseball back in the 50s, room with Satchel Paige back in the day. My father, he played college ball, and myself, I played varsity baseball over in Farmingdale. So I'm born and raised Long Islander, and I always had that competitiveness, wanting to be in the game, always being able to play. And for here, how I looked at it was like, with policy, with government, you see what's going on around you all the time. And at the end of the day, you can either sit in the sidelines or be the starter in the game. And that's exactly was my mentality. It was like, as I said, my dad worked for a utility company. My mother was a nurse. So I didn't have political people in the family. I didn't know much about it besides my own fascination and my desire to try to effectuate that change. So we were able, when I saw this opportunity arise, after law school and all what I've done, that was a moment where I just said I could seize it, and I went for it.
It's funny because one of the first times you and I ever hung out. Now, we knew each other a couple times. We saw each other around, whatever. But we went out for drinks one night, right? Yeah. We're sitting there at a restaurant, whatever. We're having a drink, and we're talking in the corner. We're talking about marketing and social media. And you're like, listen, I'm going to be straight up with you. You're like, I want to be in politics. That's where I see myself. I don't think. And it was just like you knew exactly what you were going to do. And probably a year later, 2 years later, 2 years later, right? All of a sudden, you're in the mix, right? I remember you called me up, and then we got dinner again. You're like, I'm running for assembly. What do we do? And it was cool, man. You just kind of rolled up your sleeves. You went for it. You kind of.
It's like, let's go. We're taking this next gen. We're gonna turn it up, dial it up to 11, and just going for it, man. And that's what it was about.
And it was awesome. It was exciting. It was
fun.
It was exciting for a lot of us, right? A lot of us who kind of knew you, saw you, knew what you were up to, tried to help you out along the way, strategize. We watched and we just like, shit, bro. Look at LiPetri, man. We're just constantly giving each other a nudge, and we're like, this guy's doing it, and you did it big. You didn't just do it like you made a name for yourself, right? You kind of you're not the type of guy that sits back and takes shit, right? Like when something bothers you, you know about it, and that was really your whole platform, right? Like you were the guy who stood up and said, I'm not standing for this anymore, and people got behind you.
Well, that's what it's about, right? You're representative. That's what people wanted, and that's what they looked for, and especially for me down in the South Shore in Nassau, Suffolk County. They were like, let's go. We want someone no holds barred. We want someone that's going to be voicing it out there, speaking up, and understanding what it means to work in government, right? And I always thought about that old school time where it's Ronald Reagan, Republican President, Tip O'Neill, Speaker of the House, Democrat, working together, deal making, finding a compromise together where they just got stuff done. And I love that. And I used to have where it's no nonsense, where any extremism, I was like, I'm over this. I'm over where it's just bantering at each other. I'm over where it's just like egos get in the way, controlling. I don't want that, man. I want it where it's just creating an area, creating a universe that people can just live on Long Island, enjoy time with their family, work hard, make a great living, and not worry about the burdens.
And I think that's what you did so well. And we do not get into politics here, so I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole, right? But we will talk about what you did so well, and what I don't see as often as we should is you weren't Republican, Democrat, this, that. You listened to what everybody wanted. You made sense of what everyone was saying, and then you were the guy at the front of the line holding the megaphone, yelling, screaming, saying, this is what we want, right? And we're not going to be ignored. And I think that's why so many people got behind you, is because you were very reasonable about it. And that's what's important.
Yeah, the common sense approach, right?
Exactly.
It's like, where are you stand on this? And I loved it. I love talking to opposing side all the time, because tell me I'm wrong. Show me why I'm wrong. Or if we can't agree to disagree, then let's find an area where we go like, okay, I see what you're saying on that. Yeah, I see what you're saying on that. In politics today, that's what's about restoring, is that understanding. Like, okay, I get where you're coming from. I disagree on this concept, but I could work with you on that. And that to me is invaluable.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now you do a great run assembly. You're there for 2 years. You throw your hat in the ring. You try to take it even bigger, right? Which like all the power to you. You dive right in. You say, screw this. I'm going to the next level, right? Didn't quite work out the way we all wanted it to, right? But that's okay. Now you roll up your sleeves and you say, okay, what's next? And you land a great gig and you partner up with guys that are phenomenal, who have a great name, and
awesome
now you're at Park Strategies.
Yeah, Park Strategies. Working under former U.S. Senator Alphonse D'Amato, who's just an icon, a titan, frankly, in New York State government, United States government. I mean, this is a guy that served as U.S. Senator for New York for like 18 years. Somebody who really manufactured relationships in a genuine and authentic way with both Democrats and Republicans, and for me to be able to be at his side, working with him, working with former New York State Assemblyman Armand D'Amato, working and covering all of Long Island and New York State. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, this firm is a top 10 firm in the entire state of New York,
and they have such a strong reputation. They're so rooted so well in everywhere in the state, right? But here on Long Island, they're so rooted so well that it really is. I mean, it says a lot to you as a person to be able to work alongside these guys, and it says a lot to them for picking such a great guy to work with. But it really is a powerful firm. Tell a little bit about what Park Strategies does. Not everybody probably understands what they do, but high-level overview, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper.
Yeah, it's like government relations, right? So what is government relations? Everybody's like, well, how does that affect me? How can that? We partner with you, businesses, organizations, associations, to put you in the best position to succeed, to grow. That's why ultimately our roles are our jobs. So whether it be, put examples out of it, it'd be working with associations. We can manage the association. We could send out newsletters, do invoicing, billing, grow your association, help you find new members. We can work with businesses on a one-on-one basis who are trying to secure grants or sell products to the government. We put you in front of people that are the decision makers, developers who are developing land. They try to get bids on different proposals throughout New York State, throughout federal government, on Long Island. We put you in front of those who are best positioned to deliver these different grants or proposals or bids.
And I've worked with firms like yours in the past. I haven't had the honor to work with you guys yet, but I think that there's probably going to be something where our paths cross, right? And it's going to be a really good fit. But I don't think people really always comprehend the amount of opportunity there is to work with the government, right? Like there's a lot out there. And if they do comprehend it, they don't even know where to start.
Right. And that's that's exactly our point. That's where we come in, because we provide you that roadmap. It's like, this is what I want to do. How can we grow from this? What am I missing? What are these pieces? And we fill it in with A, B, and C. For example, just something simple as like a restaurant or a catering hall or business trying to operate, and they need the liquor authority permits. Well, we'll help you get that, right? We put you in front of the decision makers in the New York State Liquor Authority, or we have those different organizations that, again, are putting out a bid or trying to become certified with MWBEs. We can create that for you. We can help you with that certification, no problem.
And a lot of times, like, when you're dealing with the government, there's so many different forms of dealing with the government, right? There's these competitive bids where the lowest bidder, no matter what, they get it as long as they're qualified. Sometimes it takes a qualification round, right? And no matter what, whether you're working with the government or this or that, like, it's still relationship driven, right? It's still
100%.
It's still relationship driven. Not because it's relationship driven for, they're trying to push it in one way or this way. It's relationship driven because sometimes you just have to it's a technical bid or and you have to be qualified or whatever. And like, it's just good to know or have a relationship with the people that are really making those decisions or putting those things out, so they have a good feel for who you are and as a firm. And I take it as you guys are really more of like almost a business development company, right? Where you guys are outsourced business development or whatever, but for the government, really trying to push people in there, gain the right relationships, get in front of the right opportunities, be kind of a matchmaker and say, you guys could really be taking advantage of X, Y, and Z, and you might not know that. And it's really like just to develop people's business that want to work with the government, right?
100%. And I think that's what I find so fascinating is how people don't realize how much government is involved and how many levels of government is involved in their daily lives. So that's what I mean about the federal government, where you can come into play, state government, local governments and counties, towns, villages even. We play a pivotal role in each of those layers of government that could advantage your business over another. I mean, we've had people speak to us that, just the other day, talking with others who are trying to secure proposals from the federal government, but then work on with local governments to try to secure properties. So properties that are available, properties that they can't find, but maybe the local governments know of, we can develop those and put the two together to say, hey, we found you what you're looking for.
And it's funny you said, just because you work on a federal level doesn't mean you could work on a local level. There's so many local municipalities in all different areas of the country that even if you're doing stuff on the federal level and you have relationships there, some of the smaller stuff, it might not be the same navigation. You might need different relations, different people, a different understanding. I mean, Long Island is made up of so many municipalities.
Yeah.
I mean, there's cities within the island. There's 2 cities. There's 2 counties, 13 townships. There's a ton of different, and inside there's probably over 100 incorporated villages there, and not to mention the different departments within those things. There's so many local municipalities. To really understand how to navigate those things is a huge undertaking
and exhausting. I mean, it's just exhausting for a business where you're trying to manage and operate your own business. At the same time, you want it to grow, but you need some help because a person by themselves or even a team can't navigate that alone. They need that assistance of people that have been in the government for years, decades, and beyond, and who know it the best. And again, going back to something you were talking about with in terms of how different bids show up, RFQs, whatever they may be, you can also, by partnering with us, we can help craft it so that it's best suited for your business. So suddenly we're having it tailored where all of a sudden your businesses are the ones that fall perfectly in line. Mm-hmm. That puts you in the best position to then get those bids.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I've seen it the way that it works, right? And I've seen it the way where and sometimes those relationships help so much because it's not so much that you're even tailoring it for one person or another, but like sometimes the person who's creating those RFPs or those RFQs or this, they need that assistance. So they come to people like the end bidder or for guidance on how to write those RFQs. Come to guys like you on what they should include, what they shouldn't include, and this and that. And when you include those things, it may lead to needing a really technical firm that could take care of it. So those qualified people that are hiring you become the best fit because they are the best fit, and you're guiding those people in the right direction to make sure that they're choosing the most qualified firm. So I've been there. I've seen the way it works, and understanding the history behind Park Strategies and the amount of experience you guys have there, I could imagine that you guys navigate this stuff very, very well. I mean, I've been in rooms and had conversations with people that have done business with Park Strategies, and they always hold it at the highest regard of when you're dealing with the government, these are the guys you want to do it with,
Right.
And
it's authentic advocates. That's who we are. Yeah. We're just genuine. We tell it to you straight. We're like, this is what we can help you with. This is how it's going to help you grow. We're not playing you. We're not going to do any of this where we tell you one thing, bait and switch or anything of the sort. It's a matter of this is how we can help you. And I want to make sure, and same goes for the senator, same goes for Armand, we want to make sure we're delivering these services to you that we can actually deliver. We're not playing games here. We're not going to say we're going to do one thing and give you another. And I think that's what many of our clients value, is because they know they can trust us, because they know, and that's where I really play a pivotal role in that type, and bringing that type of energy, enthusiasm, commitment, but also honesty and integrity to where we're saying this is what it is. This is what it is. So if you don't like it, I'm fine with that, but I want to lay it out the plans for you so you see what the roadmap looks like.
Yeah, and knowing you for so long, I mean, I know how important that is to you, right? Like I know you as a person. I know you as a guy. Like you are one of the most integrity-driven people that I know, and to align yourself with an organization that feels the same way, I mean, that had to be very important when you were selecting what your next move is and where you were going. I mean, that had to play an important role to have guys that were aligned with you in that manner.
Yeah, no doubt. It was a team. It was just a straight up team. I mean, I was up in Albany yesterday just to talk to the team, learn more about each other in a deeper way than just superficial, right? Talk about what's your background, where you come from, what's your experiences, how can I help you succeed, and vice versa. You know, we have all over the state, we have an impact and a footprint. And I think that's what makes it so special. Whether it be, it's not just the state and the city, it's local governments all across New York State. It's people that are doing business upstate, trying to come down to Long Island and do some business. People that are on Long Island trying to do some business upstate. We got you, and we'll help you along the way. And there are people, and if I can't help you, there are people part of the team that can help, and we overall look out for each other.
Awesome. So let's teach me and some people a few things, and let's kind of talk about some of the terminology, right? Like when people hear lobbyist, right?
They just think the most awesome people ever.
They don't even know what to think. Honestly, this is what people think. They think, okay, these are guys that somehow, whatever, get things done within the government and knows people and this, that, whatever, but they don't really know like what it means. Like, so, and there's registers, and like you have to register to be a lobbyist. What does it all mean? How does it work for businesses if they're going to hire someone to be a lobbyist? Like, what are the steps they have to take?
So let's break it down. Into sports. Like I was saying before, I was a baseball player. So it's like, all right, the guy that came out of high school, played college ball, got drafted, went to the minor leagues, and came up to be an MLB player. So it's like, okay, now you have an entire organization made up of MLB players who did it before, went through, and now you as a high school player sign them and say, help me go get into the MLB. Okay, we're going to show you the techniques, the fundamentals. We're going to show you the ups and downs with college ball, with getting drafted, with who to talk to get the best opportunity to get drafted to the best team, what the teams look for, the coaches of that team, how do they want, what skill set are they looking for, what players do they need? Right? They need a third baseman and shortstop, and you're a pitcher, so that team's not going to work for you. So we're going to put you in this team. That's basically, to break it down in layman's terms, how lobbying works for your business and what you're looking for. Okay, you need these. You need to get with the liquor authority. We know upper management there. You need to work with this department or that department. We know upper management there. We can go with the decision makers rather than, so many people I know who said, yeah, I tried calling so-and-so, but I got their hotline. I got the main number that just rerouted me to 5 different people. Yeah. I tried getting a meeting, which took me months, and then I had that meeting, and they said, oh, sorry, we can't help you because so-and-so has to make the decision, not you. Well, we're skipping all that. Yeah. We're going to expedite this process and say, we know not to call those numbers. We know not to talk to that person. And ultimately, the people that are trying to blow you off, well, we're going to make sure that we give them no excuses to blow you off, because when they say, oh, you got to talk to so-and-so, we did.
Yep. And what's crazy is like people might be going down a route that they think is best for their business. And this takes a lot of time. Things that you were just describing, I've been there. You're on the phone. You're calling people. You send.
It's exhausting.
You're sending multiple emails just to try to get a copy of one thing that you need to go to the next step, whatever it is, right? But you're going down a route, and you might be going after one department, or you might be going after a certain contract that you think would be very well suited for your business, only to find out, just only through experience, like, don't waste months and months trying to go down this road. You're not going to be a good fit for that because they're already going to go in this direction. Like it just makes sense because you didn't know X, Y, and Z, right? Whatever. Maybe they have a different contract and this is just an extension of that contract.
That's right.
And it makes no sense. Like we've done stuff where, New York City Transit's doing a whole thing and, they're replacing all their technology. Well, it doesn't make sense to go with a new vendor now, right? They already did all these things.
And they like the work and they're going to move on to
that. And it just works. It's just they're going to keep going with the same product, same manufacturer,
But then you choose us and then we tell you, well, there's actually in this contract, there's been a problem with the vendor and I know they're looking for something, for someone different, and someone different fits exactly what you're able to do and your skill set. So let's go into that direction.
It makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. And sometimes, like something that I know that we're trying to do around here, Devin's actually, he's a minority, right? He can go after his MWBE certification, mm-hmm. right? And it's something we've been talking about doing for a long time. I think there's a lot that we could do. There's a lot of contracts that it would help us position us better when they're going for that type of allocation. In order to go through that process is tedious, it's strenuous, it's everything we're describing. It's long and that's if you do it right.
Correct.
There's so many things that you could do wrong along the way.
And then also if you mess up, you could have it where you can't reapply for years later.
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
So we can't afford that.
I didn't even know that, right? I didn't even know that. So those are the types of things that like come up along the way that you don't know.
Yeah, think about it as so a showcase game or the combine for NFL. If you mess up, you're in trouble, man.
When you put it in sports terms, I completely understand what you do. I like it.
Yeah, I got you.
I like it. I like it.
That's my back. That's where the competitiveness comes from, right? Yeah. The energy.
So how do you? Let's talk about your freaking energy, man, because you never stop, right? You're the guy that like in the morning you're waking up. I imagine you're waking up early. I mean, are you an early bird?
Yeah, I'm early when you got to be, late when you got to be, right?
Gotcha. Because I've been there, man. I've seen you like around the clock, and like LiPetri's still freaking going, man. Like I remember sometimes when election days we're up till 1-2 o'clock in the morning, right?
Oh, dude.
So like you just go, and especially like during that time period, it was just like a million miles.
I remember the final weeks before election day. I think the last 2 weeks I did 110 hours each of those weeks.
It's crazy.
It's just
But have you always been that way?
Yes, I've always been, because you got to look at it. I think my mentality is my mentality is that when they're sleeping, you're working.
Yeah.
Someone always wants to beat you. Someone always no matter who it is, where it is, nothing personal, it's just business, but someone always wants to beat you. That's what it was in the baseball world. I remember when I was younger, as a teenager in high school, I was just a garbage ball player in 9th grade. I remember that. I was just terrible. And then it was just a matter of like, all right, well, I could either quit, which isn't an option, or you just better yourself and you work out, you perfect your fundamentals, and then before you know it, I was a starter in high school just the next year. So it's just you just commit 110%. There's no no sleep, right? So it's just you just keep going and you just keep pushing. That was kind of like my impetus, my trigger for where I am today.
Do you always love what you do?
You have to.
Yeah.
Because you can't have that mentality where it's Friday. I can't wait till I'm so happy it's Friday, because Saturday, Sunday, you gotta live. You got 5 days a week.
Yeah.
5 days a week that you're not enjoying out of a 7-day work week. No, I love all 7, man.
I've always loved what I do, right? Like I've always loved it. And I consider myself a hard worker. I grind, right?
Oh, big time. I remember talking to you when we 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, what are you doing up? You've been up like 4 a.m., especially with your kids and all. I'm like, how are you doing this?
I grind, right? But it's because I love it, right? Like, and like I've been in positions, like I'm the guy that if I love it, you're not going to stop me, right? But if I don't love it, you're not going to find me. I never do the things I don't want. And it's definitely bad. Sometimes it hurts me.
I remember that.
Sometimes it hurts me because like if I don't want to do it, like you're going to know, because I'm just not going to do it, right? And like it's bad sometimes, but like I've always put myself, and because of that, right? Because if I'm in a position that I don't love it, like chances are it's going to be a very temporary position, because I'm just going to find something I do love and keep trucking. So I've always loved what I do, right?
Real quick, let me interrupt that because for the listeners, the story. I remember you and I, we were, you're doing me a big solid favor for one of my campaigns. And I remember a bunch of people I was working with, a bunch of volunteers were like, yeah, we're trying to get involved with Rob. And I knew you were like swamped and you were doing me a favor because you're helping me out and you didn't want to do it. And I remember just being like, don't worry, I'll talk to Rob. I'm like, hey, Rob. You're like, I forgot. I was like, I know, because this is not.
And like, it's not, like, listen, I'll do anything for you anytime, right? And I know exactly what you're talking about. And shout out to the guys that I did that to. I apologize. I even told them at the time. Like, I don't mean it. I'm like, I just have a million things to do. And like, you're the guy I keep putting off. And I'm sorry. And it did take Mike calling me and saying, please, just do it. And I did it, right? But yeah, like I have this like weird mental block that like, if I'm not loving it, I'm not doing it, and but because of that, because I always do the things that I love, it's very easy for me to just keep going, right? Oh. It's very easy for me to at night.
It's not work.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not work. You know what I mean? Doing something you hate all the time is called stress. Doing something you love all the time is called passion.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what it is, right? So, I mean, my number one rule, my family's number one rule, which they ingrained in me, was number one rule is have fun.
Yeah.
Live your life, enjoy yourself, man. It's just because it's a blast and you can only do it once.
And you could see the passion, right? Like you could see, and again, like because I know I'm similar to you, like you could see like it's a lot easier to make you keep going than it is to stop you. Like there's no stopping you, right? Because you just love it and you're going a million miles a minute. And I've seen it, man. I've seen you like campaigning, and I've seen you like, I just see you are relentless, and you go, and that's a huge quality. Like,
yeah, and just always being on I'm telling you, technology, I love the fact that the smartphone was created, because I can do phone calls, emails, internet, go on social media, talk to whomever, being able to connect with people. I mean, that is the beauty about us as human beings. We get to connect with others and grow together. And that's what I love about, this country. I love about Long Island specifically, is that we're a community where everyone can just lift each other up. Everyone can keep succeeding. And you just keep working with others and helping them on different projects and different topics, and you could reshape and transform the future of Long Island. And that, to me, that's why with Park Strategies, it's so cool, because we get to be involved in different projects that can transform Long Island to what's going to be in the next, not only the next year, 2 years, but the next 5, 10, 15 years. And that's something that 100%,
longer, right? Even longer,
even beyond,
like really, really making a difference.
Yeah, know? And that to me is everything.
Yeah, I mean, we get that. It's similar like when you're going to do a development, you're doing a new project, you're doing that. Like that building's going to be standing there forever. Same thing that goes for you guys. Maybe it's a policy, maybe it's whatever it is, right? Like you get that satisfaction of knowing that's going to be standing well after you're involved anymore, and maybe even around. Like it's just, you're really truly making a difference for the long run, and in a big way.
Yeah, we can be in part of those land use and zoning issues where you have vacant pieces of property or buildings that are dilapidated, and you have developers that are looking to transform this and change it up, and just to knock it down and rebuild something that's gold, right? And then you bring different industries that come and are attracted to Long Island because of what you built, because what you created, and then working with local governments to make sure those zonings are correct that allow these different industries to actually operate within. And then before you know it, now you have jobs that you created. Now you created different families coming over that were never looking, and different industries like tech, innovative industries, EV, renewable energies. All that is coming, and I'm super excited.
Yeah, I mean zoning is a big one. Like even around here, like people like you, and I don't even know if you guys were involved in, but like these overlay districts, right, that change zoning, like those are big, long processes, heavy lifting, and you guys get involved in all those different things to try to, maybe it's one property, maybe it's multiple properties, maybe it's a whole area, right? And you guys get involved in all those conversations and moving that forward, and it takes a lot of time, energy, and effort, and that's the burden you guys
and that's the operative word you just said, is conversations, right? It's having those conversations with people that maybe never even heard of it, never even thought about certain ideas, never even wanted to. And, our role is coming in there and changing those minds, or even just bringing up these ideas that weren't at the forefront. And we have all these different experts within our firm that can apply to all different industries, whether it be health, whether it be gaming, whether it be insurance. The list goes on and on and on. Land use and zoning, and that's what's so exciting about it, is that diversity of issues that allows us to basically say, what do you need? We can handle it.
And even if you don't necessarily, and now you guys are lucky enough to be a good firm that have a lot of people, right? But even if you guys don't have necessarily the perfect person in house, you do have the Rolodex to pick up the phone and call the right people, ask the right questions, and get the right answers, right? So that you are pointed in the right direction, and you do know the proper way to guide people, which is I mean, quite frankly, when you're dealing with stuff like that, is priceless at the end of the day. Like, because like really sometimes the only way to get there is to make sure you're guided in the right direction. Otherwise, you might run out of time, run out of money, run out of that. Like it's tough. I've been there.
Yeah, time is definitely money, and we have to make sure we spend it in the most efficient way.
What does the next 5 years, 10 years look like for Mike LiPetri? I mean, you got a lot ahead of you. I think being at Park is new. It's great. It's cool. It's fun. Like how are you going to make an impact there? What are you going to do?
Oh, it's just growing alongside Long Island and trying to do whatever I can to work with both sides of the aisle, transform it in a way that's going to benefit all of us. I mean, the goal is to have it where we have people flocking to Long Island, cultivating families, cultivating communities, and just watching it grow, and growing in a way that's not antiquated, but really next gen. And I mean in the sense of where we have next gen transportation, schooling, lifestyle, businesses, more experiential, those that are using more efficient resources, how we utilize our energies, both personally, but also in terms of industry with buildings and operations as a whole. Where does e-commerce play with us? How do we bring e-commerce down to a level that people can work in, bringing more high-paying jobs, more crafts, more that disruptive technologies that I think will really play a huge part in Nassau and Suffolk County.
And I think sometimes people forget, like, as technology changes and as we change as a culture, that the changes in infrastructure and the changes in government have to come with it, right? So, like, let's take e-commerce for a second, because you said it, right? There's a huge demand for last mile distribution now, right? Like, because people are doing it. Especially with COVID, it's become human nature to just click away and order on Amazon. Like if it's not on Amazon, it barely exists to me. Like, I just order on Amazon, right. It's there the next day, right? But because of that, or because of that mentality, we as a community, right, we need to understand that there's a huge need for this last mile distribution. They need to have warehouses to distribute those things to people's houses, right? And in a way that is cost effective, it's there in a timely manner, and because of that, there's a lot of changes that are taking place. Retail's going out, and last mile distribution, this light industrial is coming in. Sometimes big box stores are turning into industrial spaces, and all those changes. It takes a lot of planning, paperwork, government, because they don't just allow people to do those things, right? There's specific uses for specific properties, and all those changes at a macro level are things that you could contribute to on a daily basis.
Even just something like you're talking about transportation, these distribution centers, right? You look at it where right now people are just thinking about trucks and cars, but what about drones?
Yeah.
What about those that are going to be capable to autonomously transport these different packages, these foods, who knows what else, prescriptions, where does it go from here? And right now, we don't have any of those regulations in place, not to a level of what I'm envisioning where Long Island can play a part in. And I think that's exactly a situation where those companies that come in, now they're hiring park strategies because we're getting regulated on this, or we need to craft regulations that are not going to inhibit our business and development and our business model.
Technology companies are going to be so ahead of the regulations. Like, I was involved with drones, 7-8 years ago, right? When people didn't even know what drones were, right? And the amount of government relations we needed, and working with the FAA and working with different people to try to figure out how the hell do we even treat this, right? You know what I mean? Like, there was just nothing, people didn't even know what to do or how to, and of course the natural reaction is nobody do anything. Like, everyone stop, because we got to figure this out, and rightfully so. Otherwise, it would just be a huge free for all, right? But as technology grows so rapidly now, right, we're gonna have cars that drive themselves. We're gonna have drones dropping off packages at your doorstep. We're gonna have all these crazy, ridiculous. Think about if we get autonomous cars, and now all of a sudden Uber starts to use autonomous cars, like all cars flying around. Like, the technology is going to go faster than we know how to handle it, right?
Right.
And all those regulations and all those things and those companies that are creating these. There's a guy who just did the first, my buddy Charles Weinrab, right, of Handsome Homebuyer. He covered one of his buddies who did a 3D printed house.
Oh, 3D printing's awesome.
Right? The guy printed a 3D house, right? Like, that's incredible.
Right.
Okay, now what do you do? How do you use it? Like, he got permitted for this, right? It was the first one in the country, right? What do you do? How do you use it? How do you make sure that it's to the building codes? How do you make sure the thing's going to be standing in 3 months, right? Like what do you do to regulate these things? And now this guy has this amazing piece of technology, right? It's incredible, like the amount of cost savings, the benefits to it are endless.
But if you can't get those codes and you can't get those regulations for it, it's worth nothing.
What
happens? Meaningless.
What happens if the government says, we don't know what to do with this? You can't do anything. Like, that sucks. And that's a perfect guy. Somebody hook that up, right? Like,
yo, give me a call, all right?
That's a perfect guy to link up with, right? And because he's going to have a big road ahead of him, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure he's thought about it, and I'm sure it was a huge road before we even knew what the hell he was doing, right? Because he got permitted, right? So he's come a long way already. But that's a huge, huge road that somebody's going to have to go down to try to trailblaze an industry and try to figure out how to change all these things and make it accepting. I mean, that's a huge undertaking. That's a perfect example of how guys like you come into play.
Yeah, and that's the main part of it, is having that forward thinking to go hand in hand, be in tandem with their business mentality, so they know, okay, these guys have understanding of it, they have that research, they have the analysis, and then we know the players who are either pro or opposed to these new industries.
Absolutely. So now, personally, you're coming off a couple years of being an assemblyman, right? Now you're back in the mix of the business world, right? Mm-hmm. Which is different, right? You're out here. Who do you want to meet? Who are you looking for? Like, what are the type of people? If people are watching this, who are the guys that you want to connect with, reach out to, and have conversations with?
Yeah, those associations that need help managing, those developers that need help building, those businesses that are trying to sell certain products to the government, whether it be federal, state, or local level. Those industries that truly just have a need or an impact that are from a regulation standpoint or a legal standpoint through law that will impact their businesses, we come into play. So it's so far-reaching. I mean, we could work with a hospital that just trying to understand the health regulations that are in place, the executive orders that are coming out left and right now, especially during COVID, or just getting so simple where just trying to get up to speed in compliance with code.
When you talk about people that want to sell products to the government, I have a specific question for a specific person. My dad owns Optel, right? Mm-hmm. Technology company. A lot of what he does is sell products to big institutions, right? Hospitals, colleges, government agencies, whatever. Like he sells products, right? Not always in the implementation. Sometimes he does.
Well, something like that, which is interesting, is that many times through our connections too, not even government wise, but even there, he's trying to get in with other private industries that we have relationships with their heads, their executives, that we could even facilitate a conversation. Things like that, we can come into play too, where we just kind of act as the middleman, where we bring these two businesses together and say, here's your conversation, this is what his product's all about, and this is what they're looking for, and I think you both can be a good fit.
Definitely, right? Because you guys can connect even clients to clients or people to people. I mean, your network is so broad that whole business development aspect comes into play even privately. My question for you is, when you're dealing with government stuff, is it just people that are manufacturing products, or is it the distributors of these products that are also getting involved that you could help out? I mean, I would imagine there's different angles for each one of those.
That's exactly it. It's all the above, because every single person or business will need some sort of governmental authority or assistance in different ways. So whether it be the manufacturer, but then the distributor, and then the facility, as that's the freestanding facility. So all those have an impact, whether it be through state or local or town, county or town code.
Well, you guys should call him too. I feel like I'm hooking you up here. Do I get a referral fee for it?
No,
I don't know how that works. So listen, thank you very much, man. We covered a lot. I think people learned. I love having you here.
Yeah, I hope it was enjoyable. I want to have it where people are just watching this all the way and just saying, man, Rob and Mike, they should have their own show.
I think crushing it. I mean, I gotta be honest, this is flowing pretty good. I think we might be able to.
Did we just become best friends?
I think so. I think that people learned some things. I think government is a really, really intricate business, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's a tough thing to do business with. I think there's so many moving parts. People don't always understand it. I think it's very, very overwhelming, and I think that sometimes people don't know where to start. And I think that what you do is tremendous, right? Because it really could open up a lot of opportunities for people. So anybody thinking about it, anyone wondering how they might be able to do business with government, anyone that knows that there's avenues of the government that you could do business with, you just don't know where to start or how to do it, it's worth having a conversation with
Right,
Mike.
And that's the thing, too. It's not like anything's going to cost you. We can usually just have it. We come in for a meeting. Let's discuss your ideas. This is what you're looking at. Let's see how we can play a role. Yes. If we can't play a role, then listen, no harm, no foul. I appreciate your time, and we both move on. But if we can play a role and that it's going to help you succeed, let's do it.
Yeah, totally. So reach out to them. How do they get in touch with you if they want to talk to you?
Listen, you can email me, mlipetri@parkstrategies.com. Hit me up on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Mike LiPetri, or just, give me a call.
Dude, I love having you, man. Thank you very much for finally getting in here. Anytime you ever want to be on Kulka Interactive, you're welcome. Let's do it again soon.
Absolutely, man.
All right,
Thank
thanks.
you.